Husky Mag, we look back at an action-packed weekend for Husky sports.
It was quite the busy weekend for the Cardinal and Black, with plenty of action happening at Husky Stadium, Hollenbach Hall, and inside the Hockey Center.
Husky Mag starts right now. Welcome everybody to this week's edition of Husky Mag. My name is Sam Getzinger. Alongside me is Jordan Lawrence. We have a ton of exciting Huskies action to recap.
Football and soccer looked to defend home turf at Husky Stadium, and men's hockey made their home ice debut. Let's get right into all the action beginning on the gridiron. Last Saturday in the snow, the Huskies took on Minnesota State Moorhead. The winner gained the opportunity to play in the bowl game. The Huskies sadly fell in the game 13-10, and the Huskies and Dragons played in the defensive showdown as neither team can get it going offensively. Leading the Huskies was quarterback Dwayne Lahorn, who threw for 95 yards and also ran for 55. Running back Greg Lewis also ran for 77 yards and scored the lone touchdown for the Huskies. This loss ends the season for the Huskies, who finished their season with a 7-4 record. The Dragons will be playing in the Mineral Water Bowl on December 1st in Excelsior Springs, Missouri.
Joining me in studio now is Huskies redshirt junior wide receiver John Solberg. And John, tough loss last week to Minnesota State Moorhead in your final game of the season. Let's talk about your overall season, 7-4 overall on the regular season and in conference play, third in the NSIC North. What is your team's overall takeaway from this past season?
I think this past season we've really grown as a team. We've really established a chemistry throughout the season, and I think our record kind of reflected that with the 7-4. I mean, we got a lot of big wins against Sioux Falls and teams like that, and I think we just got to build on that moving forward. And tough loss against Moorhead. We'd like to get that Mineral Water Bowl game, but just we can't do anything about that now, and we got to move forward and move into the off season and do everything we can do to make the next season better. So we got to keep moving forward.
And now we'll switch over to your season. 55 receptions, almost 1,000 yards, 8 touchdowns. I know you told me before we came on you're not a big numbers guy, but those are some very impressive numbers. And looking back on it, what is your overall takeaway of the season personally?
Like I said, like you just said, not a huge numbers guy. I'm really more about getting wins and establishing a culture on the team that will help us win games. And I think that's one of the biggest things that I do is, I try and lead the team, be positive on the sidelines, and cheer on the defense when I'm not on the field. Those are the kind of things that I try to work on the most. I'm not about getting receiving yards and touchdowns and stuff like that. I want us to move forward through adversity and through coming from behind and stuff like that. Move through that stuff with a positive attitude, and always trying to win the game, no matter how we can figure it out how to do that. Doesn't matter who scores the touchdowns. Just as long as we get points on the board and we score more than they do, that's what we're all about. So.
And you're a great team guy, putting up big numbers as always. And kind of going into next season, what are you looking to improve on? And also tell us about your connection with Dwayne Lahorn as well.
I think one of the biggest things we got to do is establish that chemistry and that trust between Dwayne and me and the entire receiving corps. And doing 7-on-7 stuff in the off season, and making our defense even that much better and challenging them. And there's that competitiveness throughout our team that we gotta build on and keep that going throughout the off season and into the next season. So.
All right, and I can't let you leave, John, until you talk about your homecoming performance. Over 100 yards and 3 TDs. What was that game like for you?
Man, it was just fun to bring back homecoming with a bang. That was a big win against Upper Iowa. That was a really good team, and our defense played so well. They really stepped up in that game against a really high-powered offense. So, you got to give credit to them, and that's a good way to start the new tradition with homecoming, and get it going again. It was awesome homecoming crowd. Can't be more thankful for that. So it was a great win for the team, and it was a fun one. So yeah.
Well, John, it was a pleasure to have you here on Husky Mag.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you so much for joining us.
Yeah, thanks.
Taking a look into the final NSIC football standings, Minnesota Duluth came on top of the NSIC North with a 7-0 division record and went 11-0 overall. MSU Moorhead, who knocked off St. Cloud State in the final regular season game, comes in second with a 6-1 record and 8-3 overall. Bemidji State behind them, and then we see St. Cloud State sitting in the 4th spot with a 4-3 division record and 7-4 overall on the season. Northern State down in the 5th spot with a 3-4 division record and 4-7 overall. And then tied for 6th, we see Minnesota Crookston, Minot State, and UMary, all with a 1-6 conference record and 1-10 overall here in Division II football. Looking into impressive Huskies in this past football season, let's look at Dwayne Lawhorn's numbers. 1,800 yards on the season with 21 touchdowns. And let's not forget John Solberg, who was in the studio with us a little bit ago. 55 receptions, 848 yards, 8 TDs, with 3 of them coming in homecoming. And let's not overlook the defensive side of the ball. Jack Horter, 73 total tackles, 2 interceptions, and 2 forced fumbles. And also alongside of him, the senior Jack Schley, 61 total tackles and 4 sacks on the season. Great job by these Husky football players.
Now from the grass to the water, the women's swim and dive team was back in action last weekend in the 2018 Joanne Andrig Invitational held at the University of St. Thomas. The girls overall took first place, but a few girls who did well was freshman Kelly McKelvin and junior Chelsea Gerke. McKelvin took first place in the 500 freestyle as a freshman. We hope she continue her strong performances, and Gerke showed out in the 200 freestyle, posting a time of 2 minutes. Now, the men's swim and dive team also made a splash in the St. Thomas last weekend. The men's team as a whole came in first place, just like the women's team, but senior Anthony Schwartz destroyed the competition. Schwartz posted a time of 1:56 in the 200 backstroke. That goes along with his effort in the 100 back, as he posted a time of 49.14 seconds. Seniors Will Nugent and Rob Lee also had a good weekend in St. Thomas. Nugent posted a time of 22 seconds in the 50 freestyle and a time of 2:14 in the 200 breaststroke. Lee posted a time of 1:58 in the 200 butterfly. These performances will help the seniors as they look to finish their college careers in the NCAA Division II Championship in Indianapolis. Both the men's and women's swim and dive teams will be back in action at Hollenbach Hall on Saturday, November 17th, as they take on the University of Wisconsin, Eau Claire.
And Jordan, as the frigid weather approaches, that means we are starting up with winter sports. Here are St. Cloud State, and it also means the top-ranked wrestling team in Division II is back in action. They started their season this past weekend at the Dakota Wesleyan Invite in South Dakota. The Huskies saw a lot of tough competition, but as we would expect, they were dominant. 4 Huskies won first place in their respective weight class. Garrett Voss won at 133, James Plesky won at 149, Devin Fitzpatrick took home first place at 165, and Zach Mueller captured the title at the heavyweight division for St. Cloud State. But that doesn't tell the whole story, though, as multiple Huskies reached the championship match in their brackets, but had to double forfeit due to coach's decision. Coming up next for the #1 ranked Huskies, they host a tough one against 21st ranked Chadron State at Hollenbach Hall on Thursday. Chadron did struggle in their first open of the season in Wyoming, where only 1 wrestler placed for the Eagles. Opening match is set for 7 p.m. at Hollenbach Hall on Thursday. After the break, we look at a dominating weekend for Huskies basketball.
Husky Mag will be right back. The Huskies men's basketball team came to the year ranked 18th in the nation. The expectations are high for the Huskies, and last weekend they did not disappoint. They tipped off their season in Mankato as they took part in the MIAA/NSIC Challenge. They played the role of lion tamers the entire weekend, first facing the Lions out of Missouri Southern. Leading the way for the Huskies were seniors Gage Davis and Sean Smith. Sean Smith dropped a team-high 24 points to go along with his 12 rebounds and 6 blocks. Smith did all that while also shooting an impressive 75% from the field, going 9 for 12 in the game. Gage Davis also had 15 points for the game to go along with 5 rebounds. And also having a good game was junior guard Trayvon Marshall, who had 16 points while also dropping a team-high 6 dimes. The Huskies will end up winning the game with a final of 89-77. And the weekend wasn't over for the men's basketball team as they continued their opening weekend the next day as they took on the Lindenwood Lions. Lindenwood came to the game already 0-1 on the weekend after losing to Minnesota State Mankato the day before, and a nail-biter that ended 88-85. But the Huskies built off their Game 1 victory and they will end up beating Lindenwood 83-75. And despite the close final, the game wasn't close for the majority of the game. The Huskies held the lead for the entire game, and their largest lead was 26 points. The Huskies also had 4 players in double digits, with senior Gage Davis leading the way with 24 points. And also having good games with seniors Sean Smith and Brentley Tyson. Smith scored 13 points to go along with his team-high 9 rebounds and 5 blocks. And Tyson was also second in the team in scoring, dropping 17 points while also shooting 6 from 10 from the field. The men's basketball team's next game will be on Saturday, November 17th, as they take on the Mavericks out of Mankato. This will be their NSIC season opener for both teams. The Mavericks will come to the game at 1-1 after beating Lindenwood last Friday 88-85 and falling to Missouri Southern in overtime 100-98 last Saturday. Tip-off at Hanneback Hall will be at 4 p.m.
Well, Jordan, great job by the men's team, but the women's basketball team opened up their season with some exhibition action against Division III University of Minnesota Morris Cougars. Defense was huge in this one as the Huskies stole the ball 16 times and had 7 blocks along with 23 points off turnovers. The Huskies shot 37% from the field and 24% from deep. Mackenzie Uter was an absolute workhorse in this game for the Huskies with 8 points, 3 steals, and went 2 for 2 from the 3-point range. Madeline Dahman led all scorers with 15 points, going 5 for 10 from the field and 2 for 7 from deep. And freshman Brenna Evans wasn't far behind with 13 points of her own as well, alongside with 3 steals and a block. Huskies take this one big, 61-35 in their first taste of competition on the young 2018-2019 season. After Wednesday's win against Minnesota Morris, the Huskies brought that momentum in and delivered a doozy of a game at Hollenbeck Hall on Saturday. St. Cloud State opened up their regular season with a matchup against the Vikings from Valley City State. The Vikings came into this matchup ranked 16th in all of Division III and did not go down easy. SCSU held the lead for over 40 minutes in this ball game until Valley City State turned on the Jets late in the 4th quarter to eventually take the lead. The Vikings were up 51-48 with 20 seconds left in the 4th quarter until Mally Doucette drove into the lane and picked up a huge 3-point play for the Vikings. That would go back with 15 seconds left and take the lead. And then on the ensuing Huskies possession, it was Mally Doucette once again knocking down a huge 3-pointer to tie the game and essentially put it into overtime. The Huskies would take over from there, knocking off upset-minded Valley City State 68-56. Doucette led all scorers with a career-high 27 points, and Madeline Dahman would also add in 12 of her own, and Brenna Evans once again tacking on 8 points as well to help seal the deal in an opening day thriller for St. Cloud State women's basketball. After that great win, the Huskies travel to Washington for the Central Washington Tournament. They will face Central Washington University on Friday at 7:30 p.m. in Ellensburg.
Now joining us in studio is Leif Ender to talk women's basketball. Now Leif, what are the expectations for this year's team?
I mean, going from last year, I think there's a lot of high expectations. They've had 11 players coming back from last year. They also have a lot. They're a pretty young team, so, coming back, they have good experience. So they had good playing from freshmen, now they're sophomores. Tori Wartz and Nikki Kilbotten have done really well stepping in as they're starting midway through the season last year. Obviously, you got NSIC player to watch, Madeline Dahman. And then you got Mackenzie Uter, who has been a beast on the defensive side and kind of leaning into that role because they needed a point guard because they graduated Andrea Thomas last year. And also another player that I feel like there should be an award for 6 women off the bench, Mallory Doucette. I mean, on Saturday night, she capped on 27 points, a career high. So I think with a lot of this team, they're using their speed, great defensive ability, and using their guards and forwards to use a lot of attack. So the expectations are going through the roof.
All right, now, who are the Huskies' toughest competition in the conference?
Going through the conference, there'll be a lot of competition. I mean, through that north side was really dominant. Northern State was a big one last year going through with them. I mean, every team can give you some toughness because you can't underestimate any team going into the division because last year, there's some kind of surprises even from last year when they played that they lost some games. But, I mean, we got Northern. Duluth will be a good one is what I talked to Coach Fish. They didn't graduate much players, but they developed a lot of them throughout the years. So that'll be one team also that'll be tough down the road in the NSIC.
And all right, so stay on the topic of matchups. Now, what is the one team you look forward to us facing this season?
I like every matchup because each team gives a different perspective of it because not one single team is going to be similar, like what you expect to. I mean, Northern State will be big on the post. I mean, you got Crookston as a good player in the interior. Augustana had the guard matchup. So it's really fun to see everyone for this team, especially with that. Because, the forwards will be fun with that, and then see how they'll do later on in the interior and also defensive matchups because both teams go head-to-head on the defense side. And also you got some games where you get perimeter and perimeter where both teams can splash the three-pointers. So, I mean, there's just not one game, and for me in particular, that I like because I'm going to be enjoying a lot of games, especially when it hit NSIC competition. Boy, you might as well just watch every game because it's going to be an exciting one.
Oh, yes, definitely, especially with basketball. We just love basketball here, don't we? Basketball doesn't get the much, much flack or
it might not get enough love.
Love.
But I mean, it's always exciting with this squad coming up because each and every day they're going to give 110%. They just get better every game. It seems like it's a different players, and it's so fun to watch how some of these players have grown and developed throughout the years.
All right, thank you, Leif.
Oh, thanks, man.
Coming up next, we check in with men's hockey action at Herb Brooks National Hockey Center, and we'll take a look at how women's hockey did on the road.
Awkward. I'm the awkward silence. You try to avoid me, then there I am again.
But an awkward silence can be a great thing.
Like Kelly here is about to demonstrate.
You haven't really been yourself lately. Are you okay?
Find out how you can help a friend with their mental health at seizetheawkward.org.
To Week in Review,
where we take a look back at the top stories of the week.
My name is Ben Henry. Alongside me is Emilio Ramos.
Well, the temperature is not that cold, even though it is snowing like crazy.
On WCHA conference rival, Bemidji State.
Thank you for joining us for UTVS News Week in Review. We'll see you back here Monday at 4:30.
After a sweep last weekend against Colorado College on the road, the Huskies returned home for a tough series against number 5 ranked Denver. The Huskies would go in a hole early against the Pioneers on Friday as Denver freshman Cole Gutman would open up the scoring 9 minutes into the first period. It did not take long for SDSU to find an answer though, as Huskies freshman Nolan Walker scored just 1 minute later to tie it up. The Pioneers would score another one late in the first period and early in the second period to bump the score to 3-1. But once again, as Denver scored their third goal, freshman Nolan Walker came back again, putting in his second goal of the game just under a minute later. and then red-hot Patrick Newell would deliver the game-tying goal a little bit later on in the second period, and then the captain Jimmy Schultz would deliver the game-winning goal on what else but a power play for the Huskies late in the second period. And then defense came up big in the third period as no goals were scored by either side. David Rennick stopped 18 of 21 shots for St. Cloud State, while Devin Cooley stopped 31 of 35 for Denver. The Huskies take Game 1 4-3 and try to complete the sweep on Saturday. The Pioneers would come back on Saturday to the Herb Brooks National Hockey Center to try to prevent that, and well, it was different day, same story for Denver, as Cole Gutman would once again start the scoring with a goal 6 minutes into the first period. Liam Finlay would add another one for Denver 15 minutes into the first, but SCSU's Nick Perbix got one back just 51 seconds later. The Huskies would add on 2 more unanswered goals in the second period, first from Blake Lazat and then from Easton Brodzinski to take the lead 3-2. Cole Gutman would net his second of the game to tie it back up at 3 with 3 minutes left in the second. It wasn't until 9 minutes into the third and final period when sophomore Kevin Fitzgerald would deposit the game winner for SCSU against the Pioneers. David Rennick was in net once again, stopping 12 of 15 Denver shots, and Devin Cooley in the game as well for the Pioneers, blocking 33 of 37 against the Huskies. St. Cloud State completes the sweep over number 5 Denver in 2 absolute thrillers at the National Hockey Center this past weekend. When asked about the difference of how the team played from Friday to Saturday, this is what Coach Larson had to say.
You know, I mean, it felt like a replay, really, and another one-goal win. The guys really, they're doing a great job of sticking with things and fighting back, and a lot of character. We just need to learn this lesson that we can't come out slow. Denver outworked us for the first period. They wanted it more than we did. It was clear that they were playing better than us, and we kind of got shocked into playing. That's a really good Denver team, and you know what? We had a little luck involved there too. Some of those power plays and different things we were able to capitalize, but you know, against a good team like Denver, you can't get down like that very often and come back.
Now, up next for the Huskies is Bemidji State. The Huskies will be at home versus the Beavers this Friday and Saturday. The last time these two teams faced off was in the 2016-2017 season, and the Huskies took that game 2-1. The puck drop this weekend will be at 7:07 Friday and at 6:07 Saturday. Now, let's take a look at the USCHO men's polls. After sweeping the University of Denver last weekend, St. Cloud State has remained at number 2 in the recent poll. Also ranked are fellow NCHC teams Duluth and Mankato. The Bulldogs find themselves at number 1 in the poll, and Minnesota State slides in at the 3rd spot. Following the top 3 is Massachusetts at 4, Penn State at 5, Denver at 6, Notre Dame at 7, and Providence at 9. The Huskies women's team is looking to bounce back after being swept by Ohio State. Julia Tilke would start things off in the first, getting the Huskies off on the right foot. But Linwood would answer back as Gargalito and Burke scored 2 for Linwood in the second 3. Emma Bigham tied things up for the Huskies and to send it into OT. There, no one would give on the board to take the victory home for their game, and the game finishes as a tie at 2-2. Both would come back the next night with victory in sight. Linwood would take the lead early when Jordan Pym would would put the puck behind the goalie to take the early lead. But SCSU would not go down quietly, as Portercus would help tie things up for the Huskies in the 3rd period. Unlike the night before, Linwood would take the victory home when Martin would slot one behind the goalie.
Well, Jordan, we're almost at the halfway mark for women's hockey, so let's take a look at the WCHA rankings and how they're shaping up. The number 2 ranked team in the country, the Minnesota Golden Gophers, are sitting atop the WCHA rankings with a conference record of 7-2-1 and an overall record of 9-2-1. Very impressive start to the season they're putting up this far with a 22 points in WCHA play. The Badgers from Wisconsin are ranked number 1 in the country, and the Buckeyes from Ohio State are ranked number 4 in the country, and they're both coming in at number 2 in the WCHA. The records may be different, but they share the same amount of conference points, sitting at 15. Behind them, the UMD Bulldogs, ranked 8th in all of the land, come in at 4th place with a record of 3-4-1 and an overall record of 5-4-1. Minnesota State, Mankato, and Bemidji State come in at number 5 and 6 in the WCHA. Both teams at 2 5-1 conference records, and down in the basement are the St. Cloud State Huskies, coming in with a 2-6 conference record and 4 9-1 overall with 6 points in WCHA play. But hey, there's still plenty of time to make a push for SCSU. If they plan on making that run, though, it will start with number 2 team in the nation, the Golden Gophers from Minnesota. As we mentioned before, the Gophs come in with a 9-2-1 overall record and 22 points in the WCHA. Last time these two teams met was earlier this season when the U of M took both games pretty handily from the Huskies, and the Huskies will try to get revenge starting on Saturday at 2:07 p.m. and over at the National Hockey Center, and then again on Sunday at 2:07 p.m. over at Ritter Arena in Minneapolis.
Coming up, we take a look at our top player of the week and leader of the pack.
And see who showed out for the Huskies with Blizzard's best top plays. Husky Mag wraps up when we come back.
After I hurt my neck, first I took them to feel better. Then I just kept taking them. I didn't know they'd be this addictive. I didn't know how far I'd go to get more.
Opioid dependence can happen after just 5 days. Know the truth, spread the truth.
Hi, I'm Tony Langfeld, Associate Producer of Husky Tonight. When our executive producer Greg Spate started this show over 80 years ago, it was his main goal to sell lots of popcorn. Although we don't make popcorn here, he encourages you to eat popcorn whilst watching our shows. So why don't you grab some Orville and Redenbacher, or some Pap Secret, or even some other popcorn that the Boy Scouts sell, so you can watch our show and enjoy it with some popcorn. So enjoy it, and be sure to tune in. Thanks for watching.
Make sure to follow us on Twitter at UTVS_Husky Mag to stay up to date on all things St. Cloud State sports, including in-game updates, stats, and so much more.
This week's leader of the pack goes to none other than Mally Dossett of the women's basketball team. As we mentioned before, the women's basketball team opened up their season against Valley State on Saturday. Dossett dropped a career high 27 points and came up huge for the Huskies down the stretch, as she converted a 3-point play to tie the game with 30 seconds left, and then tied the game once again with an off-balance contested 3-pointer from the top of the key to send it to overtime. She also added in 2 rebounds, 1 block, and 1 steal. Congrats, Mally, and good luck to her and the rest of the Lady Huskies as they travel to Central Washington this weekend.
Now it's time for Blizzard's best. Coming up in the 3rd spot is Nick Perbeck's first career goal. Taking a look at this one, Nolan Walker gets the face-off, passes it over to fellow freshman Nick Perbix, and then beautiful shot to sneak it under Devin Cooley's 5-hole. Coming in at number 2, here's the leader of the pack, Mally Doucette, and that 3-pointer we talked about, hands in her face, unbalanced as well, makes it with 10 seconds left to throw it into overtime. Coming in at number 1, Jimmy Schultz with the puck at the top of the right circle, and then a beautiful wrist shot, something he doesn't do too very often, and just sneaks it over the left pad of Devin Cooley for the game winner on Friday for the Huskies. Thanks for joining us here on this episode of Husky Mag. We hope to see you next week, same place, same time, for more updates on your favorite St. Cloud State sports. Have a great night.